Hello friends, I hope all of you are doing well. In my earlier videos, I talked about New Education Policy 2020, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and the key takeaways from the Monetary Policy Committee meet held on first week of August 2020. Topic for this week is Taxpayer Charter. This is as per the request from one of the viewers. So, in case you are interested in any common topic, please update on the comments column so that I can post videos on that topic in my subsequent weeks. So do subscribe, like and share my videos so that others also can be benefited if you find the information to be useful. So without further ado, let us get started with this week's topic. Before getting into taxpayer charter per se, let me provide some background. We all know that the last 7 years, there have been multiple structural reforms which have been introduced and which have helped India to become a favorite destination for the foreign investors, and which has also helped us to move up from 142 to 63rd position in terms of ease of business doing index. So GST or IBC or Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, RERA, which is a structural reform on the real estate sector, and Benabi Transaction Act. These are all some of the many reforms which have been introduced. And Taxpayer Charter is one among those structural reforms. India, with a population of 130 crore people, you will find it amazing that only 1.5 crore pay tax. So if we go by financial year 2019 statistics, only 8,600 people have disclosed a personal income of over 5 crore rupees. A little over 3 lakh people have disclosed a personal income of 50 lakhs and above, and totally or less than 6 crore people have filed income tax returns or ITR forms. So what that it tells us is about 75% of the people file nil return. Nevertheless, it is good that they are doing their duty as required by the law. However, this 1.5% of the direct taxpayers, 1.5 crore people direct taxpayer, as well as the income from indirect tax or GST, together amounting to close to 17 lakh crore rupees, is what India has got to take care of the aspirations of the new India, the development requirements of envisaged by the government, to make purchases for our internal security, also to take care of any ad hoc expenditure because of natural calamities and beyond. So, do you think this is enough? It is not sustainable in the longer run. With the introduction of GST, government has made significant headways in expanding the indirect tax net. Of course, they could not multiply. So, taxpayer charter is one such step wherein government want to emulate the same success in case of direct tax base, as well as enhance both direct and indirect tax base. So direct tax is nothing but the personal income tax which an individual pay. Indirect tax is the tax we pay for, or the GST we pay for our goods and services we buy. So the purpose of the agenda of the government through this is basically, one, to expand the tax base, and also ensure that to bring in a perception change amongst the taxpayers with respect to income tax authority. So they should be perceived not as an enforcer but as an enabler, a friend or a friendly tax authority. So that's a perceptual change which the government want to achieve through this in taxpayer charter. Also, with that brief introduction, let us get into what is taxpayer charter. So it contains 3 components. One is faceless assessment, faceless appeal and taxpayer charter. Faceless assessment is nothing new. It is nothing but the e-filing which we have been doing maybe 10 years back, wherein we physically go to the income tax office, put it in the drop box, the manually filled ITR or income tax returns. I mean, subsequently government has mandated those earning 5 lakh and above to go to digital mode of filing returns, nothing but e-filing, and that has become the norm today. Additionally, with the introduction of faceless assessment, what it brings is the human interaction between the assessee and the income tax authority is being eliminated. So with that, the perceived corruption is also eliminated. Additionally, what happens in case of faceless assessment is, like say hypothetically you think that 10,000 ITR forms government received, within which they will basically random pick some of the ITR returns for manual scrutiny. So with faceless assessment, what happens is this random sampling is not picked by human, it is picked by the system. So based on some algorithm, system picks up and throws the smaller portion of the total tax return received for manual scrutiny by the income tax officer. So this is already in vogue. That's nothing new. The next is the faceless appeal. Faceless appeal is going to be introduced from 25th September 2020. Same phenomenon wherein there is no manual interaction, human interaction between the assessee and the taxpayer. So basically using the digital platform, the appeals will be sent and then it will be processed. So that's something which is going to happen from 25th September. The third thing is, the most important, is taxpayer charter. What is taxpayer charter? It's nothing but government is committed, or the income tax authority is committed to provide some level of service to the taxpayer, and in return they have some expectation also from the taxpayers. So they were basically spelled out, or 14 commitments. They have given 14 commitments to the taxpayer. In return, there are 6 expectations from the taxpayer. So these are all nothing but, it's nothing new about it. It's all motherhood statement or basic generic statement, I would call it. So basically they commit to provide fair, courteous and professional support whenever a taxpayer comes out with some query. And most importantly, the taxpayer will be treated as honest unless there is material evidence to come to a conclusion otherwise. Third is, build a mechanism for appeal and review. Suppose there are inaccuracies found, then there should be a mechanism for appeal and further review if required, and it is to be done in a time-bound manner. They commit to provide accurate and complete information to the taxpayer, and also any queries will be handled in a time-bound manner and they take timely decisions. And the next commitment is very obvious thing, that they will collect correct tax which is required as per law. In other words, they will not collect more or collect less. Next commitment is basically they want to safeguard the privacy of the taxpayer. Suppose in case of investigations, they will not basically, they say is they will not be intrusive. So they will only ask and solicit information which is required for that query and not anything beyond. The next commitment is to safeguard the data secrecy as well as the confidentiality of the data received from the taxpayer. So unless legally it is required, your data will not be shared with anybody. And the most important commitment, which is not finding place in the previous Citizen Charter, which was introduced in 2014, is that income tax authorities will be accountable for their actions. So you make a complaint, and then if they found the income tax authority is he has breached his limit, then action will be taken on the income tax officer. So that is the commitment which the government is giving to the taxpayer. And they also build a mechanism for lodging a complaint and speedy redressal or addressing the complaint in an expeditious manner. So that is our next commitment. The other commitment which they make is they will give the free hand to the taxpayer to nominate representative who could file the tax return on one's behalf. So this is nothing new which is already in vogue. They just reiterated the same. And finally, they basically, in case of any complaint, the investigation will be done in a fair and free manner, and they will be publishing the reports periodically for the benefit of everybody. And most importantly, what they say is they will try to reduce the compliance cost. So the cost of complying with the regulation, they will try to optimize. So these are the commitments which the income tax authority or the government is providing to the taxpayer. In return, they are expecting taxpayer to be honest and compliant. So please be honest and then provide all the full information regarding to your income and expenditure, and also comply with the rules of the land. Be informed. So that's what they expect. In other words, as an individual, what are my tax obligations? And then get updated on the tax obligations. Preserve the records. So whatever income and expenditure, if you are going to, update in your ITR forms, please preserve backup or records for that. Preview of the actions which your representative who is filing returns on your behalf. So that because you are going to be held responsible for whatever your representative is going to file, please be informed of what your representative is giving the input, updating the records. Then respond in time and pay in time, or the next commitment or the expectation from the taxpayer. In other words, for any query from the income tax authority, please respond on time and also pay your tax within the time bracket. So these are all basically general guidelines which the income tax charter is all about. Basically, this is a very noble thing, a very good thing in paper, and implementation is going to be the key. My only issue with this income tax charter is when it is very fair, it is very transparent, there is no doubt, but there is no legislative backing which a normal tax payer charter in other countries would have. In other words, enforcement. If in case of non-compliance, what are the recourse to the taxpayer, which is not clearly spelled out, which is a very important thing. I hope the government take notice and try to come out with more transparent, lucid manner. What are those legislative backing which gives comfort to the taxpayer? The other thing is, taxpayer charter is very important to expand the tax base. We all know that, because only when the taxpayers increase and also more tax is collected, then government can wishfully think of reducing the tax slab, which has been the requirement or the concern of salaried people who pay tax for every penny they earn, and there is a popular belief that may not be the case with professionals. So for government to bring down the tax slabs, they basically has to increase the tax base. The other thing is there are other ways by which government can achieve this, because this tax charter is good. So you are expecting the people to be honest enough to come back, because you say that you are a facilitator more than an enforcer. So we believe that, but there are other measures which you need to take, like the measures you have taken to enhance, to move from a cashless economy from cash-rich economy, like DBT, direct benefit transfer, linking Aadhaar to bank accounts. Government needs to come out with other measures so that the people who are evading tax are brought into the mainstream and they start filing return, paying tax, because voluntary action is one thing which is good, but in the absence of people who still evade, then they need to come out with some alternate plan so that they achieve their goal realistically. So these are my takeaways, my 2 cents on taxpayer charter per se. See you next week. Until then, please take care.